So if you're in college, or if you're just finishing high school, or even if you're a few years removed from college, what should you do? What are the next steps in your career? And I just got a question from one of my followers, and he's basically a stockbroker, a stock trader. I'm sorry, he works 18 hours a day. He's 16. He's still in school, but he switched from going to school to online. He's still not happy. He wants to forego college and move to LA and try to do big things out here. And he just asked me, my advice on what I would do if I were him, or what advice I should give him as somebody who's 16. He says he has about $8,000 saved up, and he makes a few $1,000s every month. So first and foremost, I think I know I'm a good person to ask about this because I dropped out of university. I dropped out in summer of 2015. I went ahead to get a job like a month later, and and then a month after that, I went ahead and worked for somebody I consider a huge mentor in my life. So, what should you do? One, drop out to a future dropout, and I won't just recommend dropping out because dropping out isn't for everybody. I have one of my best friends. They're both one has a degree and one's getting his degree this year. So I don't recommend everybody to drop out. It's not for everybody. That would be irresponsible advice to go ahead and recommend that. Every situation deserves its unique output. So let me answer your question. So you said you're 16 and you go to school and you switch from going to school to online. So right there tells me that you're probably introverted and you don't really necessarily like being around people per se. You say you're a social media influencer, but you're also a stock trader, which is a lot of that is done by the computer. So when it comes to college, I will tell you this: I have my thoughts on college, but what I can't debate is that socially, college is one of the best experience you'll ever have in your social life. As a man, you'll never you'll never have the opportunities with women. Let's be real for a second, that you will anywhere else. At the end of, when you're in college, you're in a class of 30 to 50 to 100 people, and there's women just galore. You're sitting next to them and one in the class. You walk in the hallway, the cafeteria. There's just women everywhere. Women down the hall. If you have co-ed sex uh, dorm, there's women down the hall. It's just they're everywhere. So not only that, but you also have a lot of clubs, a lot of sports. I played football in college. I have a lot of brothers to this day that I still keep in contact, even though I dropped out. So socially, women plus sports teams and clubs, meeting people with similar interests plus meeting teachers. I'll be honest. When I moved out to LA, I was about $3,000 in debt. I said this in one of my videos. Guess who helped me pay that off? A former teacher that I had at the University of Oregon. So socially, college you can't beat. Now you have to ask yourself: is that something you value? Are you a social person? Do you value friends? Are you somebody who has success making friends? I did, and in high school, I'm not going to toot my horn, and I think it's safe to say I was a pretty popular guy in high school. I was on varsity football. I went both ways, offense, defense. I guess you could say some sort of a star player, captain, a leader on the team, and I was just a known guy. So I have a little bit more extrovertedness to me than I think you have displayed in your question over here. So going to college for me wasn't really an option. I wanted to go. I wanted to go to the West Coast. I lived in New York. I wanted to go to the West Coast. I wanted to meet people. I wanted to meet new people. Also, I was playing football. I had dreams of going to the NFL. I had league dreams. So for me, going to college was a necessity for everything but academics. Because I know and I think that the world is slowly realizing that college isn't the best way to learn. It's not. Like, it's just not. You learn better from people who've actually been there before. You learn better through osmosis. You learn better through observing and being hands on. Now, some colleges do better than others at implementing these styles, but for the most part, a lot of subjects are better off being learned by doing it. I study entrepreneurship. I've learned more in the last year of working with my boss than I did in 3 years of college before I dropped out. If you're studying Spanish, do you think it's better to learn from a textbook and learn from somebody who's teaching, or to go to Spain and be forced to speak it every day, not just for an hour in a class? Being a doctor, I mean, legally you need to do it, but that's a difficult one because obviously we all can't work with doctors because they have to work. So maybe being a doctor is good if you want to go to college, but being a lawyer, studying the code. I think even being a lawyer is better to work with somebody who's a lawyer. They all need help. Go find a lawyer, go work with them. So outside of like scientific stuff, college I just don't believe it's the best way to learn. But when it comes to making friends and meeting girls and meeting your future wife or meeting your best friend, your future best friend, college is great because and it's a numbers game. Social life is just a numbers game. You put yourself in positions to meet more people, then more people will be in your life. If you barely go outside, you barely talk, and you barely expose yourself to the world, then you won't have much friends. But if you're around more people and you talk to more people, then you'll have more friends. So social life is really just a numbers game. It's just like sales. It's a numbers game. The more people you talk to, the more people you have friends. Now you have to ask yourself this. Number one, are you an extroverted person? Do you value your social life? Do you want to meet new people? Do you want to experience things? And two is, do you want to experience those things at a cost? Because college isn't free. So number one, you have to actually, okay, do I value my social life and do I value meeting more people? And do I value doing that at that price? Because you might want to meet new people and make new friends, but is it worth $50,000 a semester? Is it worth $50,000 a year? And only you can answer that. For me, it was. I didn't have as much education, or I wasn't as enlightened as you were at 16. Because at 16, all I was doing was watching YouTube videos of football players and then us bashing our heads against each other. So I wasn't really into business or self improvement or just my career in general. I thought like I said, the only thing I was really focused on was going to the league. It wasn't until I was about 21 that I started taking my life and my career seriously. So you have to ask yourself that question. Okay, because if you do value those things, then I think you should try it out. Like, you don't have, number one, you don't have to complete college in 4 years. You don't have to finish college, and you could go for college longer. This college doesn't have to just be 4 years, right? You can go for 1 year and say, hey, I don't like it, and drop out. You can finish in 4 years, but you could also take less credits and finish in 6 and 7 and fit more things into your life. A lot of possibilities, a lot of creative possibilities. You don't have to just cram everything 4 years and not have time for anything else. So that's what I would say. But what I would recommend is I would recommend that you go to a college for at least one semester to a year. Because you won't, I could tell you how college is. I could tell you my stories at college. I've been to 3 colleges: Oregon, Delaware, Seton Hill. I've been, 3 colleges, 3 different states, met a different people every time I went because it's just different states, different areas. So I could tell you my experiences. I could tell you my stories. I could show you my friends. But until you actually go and put yourself in that environment, you won't know if it's for you or not. Whether you like people or not, or you value people, you won't know until you go. So I would always recommend, again, I personally would always recommend somebody at least go for at least half a semester, just to say. And if you don't like it, you can always leave. But you could, if you're so focused on not going, well, you'll never know. And I'm just not a fan of never knowing. So I'd rather go and drop out, worst case scenario, or in my case, best case scenario. So that's what I would say. I would say at least go for a semester. Finish your high school, go to school, college for at least a semester, and see what it's like. Now, when it comes to actual success, right? Because that's social life, right? College is mostly, in my eyes, when I think college, I think social life, and you can learn some things. Now, you obviously are an entrepreneur, you're a business type person in your question, so I'm not really sure the business schools. I'm not sure how you're doing in your SATs and your kind of just grades overall. So what you would want to do is try to go to the best business school as possible and go for a little bit to see if you like it. Go to a good business school, study business, try to use the professors as your mentors, and just see if you just like it. See if you like it. Now, you might go ahead and say, okay, I'm in college now. My business classes aren't really that good. There's no professors who've really done the things I want to do, so I drop out. Cool. Or you could do this. You could kind of do both. You could go to school. You can study business, use your professors as mentors, and you could also find mentors outside in your area, whether it's in LA or wherever school you go to. You could find mentors who are doing the things you want to do. Now, this is the best way to learn. The best way to learn is to find people who are where you're at, and do what they're doing. That's the best way. The best way. The best way to learn is not to sit in a class, listening to a lecture from people who are just regurgitating stuff that they've read out of a book. It's not. You could just read the book for yourself, and you can contextualize it yourself. And you don't really need to pay $50,000 a semester to have somebody do that for you if you're in business. Now, some of you might. Some of you may value a degree. Some of you may have parents forcing you to go. And that's a different story. But if you strictly just want to learn and be the most successful person you can be, well, you should go ahead and find people who are living the life you want to live, doing the stuff that you want to do in the business that you see yourself in, and go attach yourself to them. And you could do that while you're in school. And if you say, okay, my schedule's too busy, well, then take less credit hours, still go to school, still work towards your degree if that's something you and your family value, but also scout out your area, find some mentors in your area or online, through courses, through books, study under them, and work towards your goal. And as you continue to work towards your business goals, if you're like, okay, well, then I don't really need school no more because I'm making money doing this thing, then you can drop out. Or if you say, oh, I don't, I need some time to find my mentors, well, you're still in school working towards something. So I don't think anything in life has to be so cut and dry. I think your question was very cut and dry. Okay, well, it's either go to school or do my thing. I don't think it has to be that cut and dry, especially if you don't know. I think you should kind of hedge your bet a little bit. It's only once you find what you want to do or you have your answer that you should go full in. So let's say you go to a school in California, you go to college in California, you're studying, and then you're also studying under a mentor, and you're growing as an entrepreneur. Well, if that's working, then you should go ahead and ditch school, because hedging your bet once you know what you want will only hurt you, because then you're sacrificing 4 or 5 hours out of your day every day when you could be applying that to something that you really want to do. But for right now, while you're still in the kind of figuring out phase, I think you should go to school, study business, see how you like it. And if you don't, you could drop out. And if you still need time to figure out, well, you're still in school learning anyway. So I think that's what I would recommend to you. But you could go ahead and figure out for yourself, because either way, if you said school is not my thing, well, then you don't need to be in school to find a list of mentors and go ask if they need help or offer them something that you think you could provide for them, right? So if you're whatever skills that you have, you said you're good on social media, well, go find somebody who's in a business that you want to be in, like, hey, I'll help you with your social media for free. Just let me mentor under you. So that's what I would recommend. Now, a bigger question that you may want to know is how to go ahead and get mentors. I'll make another part 2 video to this later because it's going to be too long. But after you decide what you want to do, whether it's go to school, study business, and find mentors and people to work under, or whether it's just saying fuck school completely, let me go ahead and find mentors, do some social media for them. At the end of the day, you need to find mentors, and that is a video within itself. So I'll go ahead and make that video. But yeah, I hope that the video wasn't too kind of, up in the sky. I know I kind of gave you a definitive answer, but I also gave you a lot of different strategies and different paths you can go down. I told you personally what I would do because I'm just a person who needs to touch the water before I can give a judgment. Because some people like college and some people don't. I think you should go see it for yourself. It's a once in a lifetime thing socially, so I think it's worth trying. I think it's worth trying, right? So it's not like saying, okay, well, somebody got electrocuted. Let me go see how electrocution is before I never do it again, because that'll be stupid because you could die. It's not worth it. Or selling weed. Let me try it for myself before I piss. Like some things you don't need to try, and some things I think are worth trying. And I think school has enough upside socially that you should at least go for a semester and find out for yourself. And the good thing about going to school is either you can drop out if it's not for you, and you could go ahead and find your mentors, go to LA, do what you got to do, or you could do it while you're in school. So, but the last part of your question, should you move out to LA? That's only you don't need to move out to LA. There's nothing special about LA that no other part of the country has. Yeah, it's a little bit more opportunities in a confined area, but you don't need to go to LA. But at the end of the day, I went to Oregon after my school in New York, and people told me I didn't have to go to Oregon. Well, I wanted to. So you have to live. When you're 90, hopefully, God willing, you have to live with the decisions you make. Now, you don't need to go to LA, but if it's something that's ringing a bell, following your heart sometimes never leads you wrong, because even though things might not work out the way you want, you have the sense of fulfillment, and sometimes that's priceless. So that's my opinion on what you should do with your career after high school, what you should do, and how the different things you should weigh. If you have more questions on this, just leave some comments below. I'll get more specific if you need me to get more specific on a specific topic, or give just a little bit, drill down a little bit on this topic. Just go ahead, leave some comments. Tell me what route I should go and what kind of topics you want me to drill down a little bit deeper. I know this is kind of a long video and kind of a little all over the place. So just leave some comments below and tell me what some things you need me to kind of comment on and drill down deeper for you. Make sure you like this video too. Talk to you soon.